Riverbend Talent on the Big Z. I'm Dennis. You got your 20 Pig Pen. Come on.
Come back, Cottonmouth. It's Pig Pen talking here.
It is Riverbend Talent, brought to you by the Halpin Music Company and by Mr. Matt Van Voorhis of Macias Insurance.
My hero.
We are taping this a week in advance, but this is a show that we have been looking forward to for quite some time. I would say probably the biggest star. Well, maybe we shouldn't call her a star because I don't think she would take it that way. You know, she was just a person. The way you know what I mean?
She is an amazing human being, an individual that helped shape the face of rock and roll as we know it. But just a lovely person.
We're talking about Bonnie Bramlett, and you know, we thought Pat Liston was a big deal, and because he met Ringo. But remember, Ringo was just like stepped in and say, "Have a good gigs, guys." Right, well, Bonnie is like friends with George Harrison.
Oh yeah,
like really friends.
Was.
Yeah.
So there you go. And now, I like to say Bonnie's my friend, but she'd be like, "No, that guy's so annoying."
Yeah. No, she was lovely, and thanks to Mechelle.
Scott and Mechelle,
right?
Bringing her down to introducing us to her. So there you go.
That's coming up. We ain't got much time, so let's get right into what's going on tonight because, you know, she told us that she wants to talk about local music. So you're out of town this week, and we're working a little bit in advance. Yep. So you're going to have to double-check a lot of this stuff because things are coming down this week. So you know how it is. Here we go. See Sanchez Sing-Along going on tonight at Morrison's Irish Pub. That's probably a for sure. Got Cross the Line at Fast Eddie's tonight, Thursday night, 7 to 11. Open mic at the Conservatory in Alton. Open mic at with Everhart and Light at Baker's and Hale and Godfrey on a Thursday. The Benbow City Shuffle, 7 o'clock at Music in the Park, Central Park in Bethalto. Darian Rose, 6 o'clock at Laux Brickhouse in Bethalto. The Tragg Band at Grafton's Music in the Park from 7 to 9. Jeremiah Johnson, 7:30 at the Wildey Theater in Edwardsville on Thursday. And that does it for a Thursday night. Let's get into Friday night and what we got.
Friday, August 6th, down at the Raging Cajun, we have pianos. It's the dueling pianos. That's a big thing going on around here right now.
Right. Nick Sickmeyer of the Bearded Bandits and Company, that might be them actually, 2 to 6, and Whiskey Dixon, 7:30 to 11:30 at Fast Eddie's Bon Air in Alton on Friday. Pat Liston, 6:30 at Chubby's in Alton. Redesign Intervention Reception. Now we're going to mess these names up for sure.
There's a lot going on in that. Well, Redesign Intervention Reception with Linda Passery and Angela
Brame.
6 p.m. at Jacoby's Art Center. There you go.
Hopefully it's still together.
There you go.
Right? So Dinner and Spirits with Troy Taylor presents Haunted Hotels, 7 o'clock at the Best Western Premiere in Alton. Those have been sold out, but this one still had time. At least a week ago.
If you've been wanting to get in on it, do it, because it's probably going to get sold out quick. We got Flip the Frog Friday night, 7 to 10 p.m. at Baker's and Hale, and then Flipside, 7 p.m. at the Moose in Wood River.
The Soulard Blues Band at the Loading Dock on Friday night. Lead Sled at Grafton Pub at 6:30. Party at the Beach with Tyler Hammond, 7 to 9, and Chris Jansen, 9 to 12 a.m. at Randall D. Dalton Park in Pontoon Beach. They'll have a Saturday night show as well.
I'll tell you what I want is a happy ending.
Right.
Happy ending is going to be 9:30 down at Patrick's in Granite City on Friday. It's a good name for a band.
Trying to get to that because Bonnie Bramlett's coming up next, and I want to get through this list so we can check that out because it's awesome. Foreplay, 6 to 10. Since you're happy ending, you got to have foreplay at Wild Pickens Winery in Chesterfield on Friday. Money Shot with our sponsor, Michael Crider, Farmers Insurance. They're playing the Bond County Fair in Greenville Friday night, 7 to 11, closing that out. The Soulard Island Dudes, 5 to 9 at Longshot Tiki Bar in Portage de Sioux, Missouri, and then Rogers and Neat House, 7 to 11 at Chateau Levin in Columbia, Illinois on Friday night.
All right, and then Saturday, August 7th, we got the Farmers and Artisans Market, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., and that is, of course, at Landmark Boulevard and Henry Street in downtown Alton. You're going to have music by Mike and Lauren Waters.
Right. Charlie Yeager and the Suburban Cowboys, 33 on the Needle, and Doug Rafferty, 8 o'clock at the Conservatory in Alton on Saturday night.
Nice.
Of course, the piano's back at Raging Cajun on Saturday night. Naked Soul 2 to 6. Whiskey Dixon 7:30 to 11:30 at Fast Eddie's on Saturday. Number 4 Combo 7 o'clock at Baker's and Hale and Godfrey on Saturday. The Ashley Haynes Duo 4 to 8 and Gypsy Soul 9 o'clock at the Pump House in Wood River on Saturday. DJ Trico 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. at the Franchise in Wood River. And let's see what's next. The Tragg Band. 3 to 7 at Grafton Winery. Stumptown, 7 o'clock at the Hog Pit in Grafton on Saturday.
Saturday. Then we got Tanglefoot, 5 p.m. at the Loading Dock on Saturday. Hookie's going to be down in Grafton at the Oyster Bar, 7 p.m. Saturday. And then Fireside, 7 to 11 at the Gold Bar at Rustic Retreats in Grafton.
The party at the beach continues on Saturday with Rock the Nation, a Montrose tribute at 6 o'clock. American Greed, 7:30, and Shooting Star, 9 o'clock at the Randall D. Dalton Park in Pontoon Beach, Saturday night.
Alfresco Productions, Melting Pot Market with Jade Horton, 10 to 11:45 a.m. And Randy Carter, 12 noon to 2 p.m. at the Civic Park in Granite City.
Right. Yes Songs, a Yes tribute, 8 o'clock at the Wildey Theater in Edwardsville. How about that, man? They had Steely Dan, and now they're doing Yes.
That's amazing.
That's some serious tribute.
We got the Screaming Eagles, 6 to 10 p.m. at Wild Pickens in Chesterfield. Then Cabin Fever, 8 p.m. at the Command Post in Troy, Illinois.
Standing it down at the command post. Flip side, 8 to 11 at the Smokehouse in Prairie. On Saturday, the Hollywood 5, 3 to 7 at Longshot Tiki Bar in Portage de Sioux, Missouri on Saturday. And then Rogers and Neenhouse begin their airport tour. 7 to 11 at Winty's at the Chesterfield Airport in Missouri. They're going to be playing out here at St. Louis Regional Airport.
Yeah, it'd be good to fly, and that'd be a good time. This Sunday, we've got Naked Soul 1 to 5 p.m., and then the Truckers 6 to 10 p.m. down at Fast Eddie's. We got Jake Weber and the Lonesome Drifters 3 to 7 p.m. at Chubby's, and the Alton Municipal Band with vocalist Robin Brandon, 7 p.m. at the Haskell Park in Alton.
Tim Levine, 2 to 6 at the Pump House in Wood River on Sunday. The Threshold, 2 p.m. at the Hog Pit in Grafton. Jarrell's, 3 o'clock at the Loading Dock in Grafton. Eric Lysott, 2 o'clock at the Oyster Bar in Grafton.
Got Dave Scott, 2 to 6 p.m. at Wild Pickens in Chesterfield, Illinois. And then the Strangers, 3 p.m. at Big Daddy's in Edwardsville. Open mic with Butch Moore, 5 to 9 p.m. at the Stagger Inn instead of 7 to 11. That is 5 to 9. Open mic with Butch Moore. Then we got Dave Horton.
Well, that's you get naked at 7 instead of 11.
Get naked at 7. There you go.
Yeah.
Naked at 7 instead of 11. There you go. Dave Horton, 2 p.m. at Hoodats in Collinsville, Illinois.
Rogers and Neenhouse, 1 to 4 at Chanderhill Vineyards in Defiance, Missouri. I missed Just for S&G, 6 o'clock at Patrick's in Granite City on Sunday. And then the Bullseye Band, 3 to 7 at the Longshot Tiki Bar in Portage de Sioux. And now we are down to what we have been excited for a long time. We hope you enjoy it as much as we did, sitting down with the legend, Bonnie Bramlett, coming right out of Granite City, Illinois, and knowing nothing but rock and roll and the history of rock and roll, and hopefully you'll be able to live it through this interview like we did, man. It was a blast. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Farmers Insurance Agent Michael Crider, Halpin Music Company, and Mr. Matt Van Voorhis of Macias Insurance.
There you go. Now let's get on to Bonnie Bramlett.
Riverbend Talent on the Big Z. Dennis here, Pigpen as well. Thanks to our sponsors, Halpin Music Company and Mr. Matt Van Voorhis of Macias Insurance. Alex is not here. He's out in the band.
He's doing some prep work. So I don't know what he's doing, but he's getting ready for whatever's coming next. That's all I can say.
What's coming next is absolutely amazing. Maybe our most famous guest of all time.
Oh, you're going to interview me?
No. I'm going to interview Michael Crider of Farmers Insurance. No, that's our sponsor. Michael Crider, though we forgot to mention. Insurance. He sponsors Alex.
Yes.
So Alex was volunteering, but now, Michael gives him a little money each month for coming in and putting this together.
Good.
And we're excited because, we got superstar in my book.
Bonnie.
Thank you.
We're going to welcome Bonnie Bramlett to the show. Hello, Bonnie.
Thank you. Hello, Pet. How are you, mate?
I've been. Oh, Hit me with a mate. It threw me. Well, doing great then, mate. No, I don't know. I've been hearing about you. First, Steve Scorfina told me what a wonderful person you are, and that we should have you in to meet you.
Thank you, Steven.
And then that information has been backed up by several other people. However, I will say your Mechelle, she talks nothing but crap on you. She's always like, that Bonnie thinks she's so good.
She's my gal now.
Yeah.
And for those listening in on the radio, you'll hear Scott and Mechelle laughing in the background for this interview. Right? Yeah. And also probably see maybe a glimpse on the video that we do for you.
They're the peanut gallery. Keep it down over there, you two.
I'm telling you, that's Steve, though. Steve Scorfina is the sweetest man. Is he not?
He is.
Is he not? I just got to tell you, since I've been here, him and Dave Toretta.
Right.
Dave and I have done a thing. We did a Bill Withers tribute.
Okay.
That I'll send it to you. Actually, it's not out yet, but I'll send it to you. Because we did it right here, in my little den there, because we can't be together.
Right.
And it's not like we can cut a track like we used to, so everybody's just doing, you can't stop us.
Yeah.
You can't stop us, COVID.
Yeah, right.
The technology will not allow it. So we've been doing our parts. Actually, we used to joke, I'm going to phone my part in.
Right.
Well, right now we do it.
Yeah.
We can actually phone our parts in.
Yeah. Now, I obviously know who you are. Pigpen knows who you are. People may not know exactly who Bonnie Bramlett is. I know all the most famous musicians in the world know who Bonnie Bramlett is. But, it's kind of an interesting career that you really were, the musicians were fans of Delaney and Bonnie.
Yeah, we definitely were boot camp.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah, and so, most people heard about you guys through the famous musicians that we're going to talk about tonight.
You know what? It was just magic.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, whatever Delaney and I had, it was wonderful. And everybody loved it a lot. And I never tried to, when him and I split up, I didn't do only and I know. I didn't do the Delaney and Bonnie set. I didn't try to replace Delaney. That was too wonderful. You could never do that. So it took a while for my fan base to readjust to me, because I worked with Stephen Stills. We were able to do that Havana Jam. There's a lot of historic stuff, and I just had the pleasure of, I'm Almond's sister. Go figure that one out.
Real.
Is that not an honor?
Yes.
And I went to the South and was embraced by Southern rock music.
Right.
Charlie Daniels, what a wonderful human being.
And you're here from Granite City originally.
I was born in Alton, Illinois.
At
Memorial Hospital.
Right.
I was raised in Madison and in Granite. When I left to go on my own, 17 years old, I left Granite City.
Yeah. So you were like 5 years old, though, when you were singing in church, right?
Well, my dad... Well, yeah, I was younger than that in church.
Hold on. 4, she sang at Jacob Myers.
That's what I thought he was going to say, so I anticipated my answer a little too much. But, yeah, I was very young in church. And I had a very kind of like schizophrenic life, because my daddy... My name is Bonnie Farrell. I'm Irish.
Okay.
And my dad's a drunk. That's how I learned to sing. Yeah. But I learned to sing in church.
Right.
And that's where I learned that the expression on people's faces when I sang, and I was just a baby. But I was doing something wrong. I was hard work as a child. And I probably had been diagnosed with something and medicated the talent right out of myself. Had they been doing that back in them days, but they weren't, thank God. And but I was hard work, no doubt about it. But I could see a look on their faces when I sang, and they were all so proud of me. It was like I was their little girl.
Yeah.
You know?
You hear that, though? She said... The look on their faces when she sang, not when she was singing, because you were pointing out the difference, and that
there is a difference.
You're like all the great blues stories seem to spawn from that same duality of Mama made me go to church and Daddy was in the bars, and somewhere in between I found this beautiful thing called the blues.
Yes, well, in church you learned how to do it right. You learn not to breathe in between syllables. You don't take a breath in between syllables.
Right.
There's just things that a choir master or mistress will teach you without criticizing you they teach you how to surrender, because that's why I don't get nervous before I go on stage, because that's my circle of light. I do everything right there. I may screw up the rest of my life. I don't do well, with balancing my checkbooks.
Right.
And I don't do the dailies all that good. But when I hit that circle of light, that's mine.
Yeah.
And it's my time to shine, and I'm doing it all. I can be, I might be big and black on one song. And on the next song, I might be a little pale,
China
English, fragile.
All right.
I might be that surrendering.
Right.
I work at a deep level, and I don't know how I got there. I just always have been.
Well, there's some good music comes out of this area in St. Louis, and some of the first people you met at a young age, Albert King, right?
Albert King, Oliver Sane, Ike and Tina Turner, Fontella Bass, Bobby McClure, Jerome and Dave Dixon on the night train. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And you were pretty young when you met all them, right?
Very young.
Like teenager, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And ended up singing with Ike and Tina, right?
I did. And thanks to Herb Sadler, because he was the one that took me to meet Ike and Tina. Now they had heard about me, because I used to sing, what was it? See, I go brain dead when I don't want to. It's going to work out fine.
Hell yeah, definitely.
Darling, and I thought I was hot. And I'm in the living room in Gaslight Square. I think I don't know, it might have been Billy Peak band. It could have been Art, could have been Dean Nagel and the Counts. Those are the only two white bands I really ever worked with. A lot, that made a big difference in my life. And in walks Ike and Tina Turner to hear me sing. And Ike was suited up. And they had their, whoever was with them that looked like bodyguards. But everybody was suited up. Back in them days, people wore like 3-piece suits and a matching top coat.
Yeah.
That was hot. Anyway, Tina comes in. She is like dripped in mink, right? She got a hat, big church hat, looking bad. Tina was bad now.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something. She was a monster. And all I knew is when I first saw her, all I knew is what she was doing to me. My heart was beating out of my throat, and she was sweating. She was maroon.
Oh, yeah.
She was maroon color. Her veins were sticking out of her neck, and oh my God, I can do that. I want to do that. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I was looking around at the other people, and they were feeling that same way. I could see it.
Yeah.
And I knew I couldn't do it right now, but I can do that.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to be when I grow up.
Yeah. So how did you end up with
Not
them?
Tina Turner. I didn't want to be her, but I wanted to work at that level.
Yeah.
Because she was freaking, we were all invisible to her. She was in her own spot, and I needed to find my spot. Mm-hmm. And I tried to learn how to growl like she did until I'd throw up,
Yeah.
trying to learn to do that. Because in my church wasn't demonstrative enough for me. I'm loud. I wanted to be loud. I wanted to be, what I saw, I didn't want to be black. That's like a foolish thing to think.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be white either.
And Janice didn't want it either. Mm-hmm. We wanted to be strong. Mm-hmm. And Janice and I both learned Peace of My Heart from Irma Thomas. And I got to tell you something. It was the power. The black women had the power at that time, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be powerful.
How'd you become an Ikeette?
Flora May. Okay, Jessie Smith, who just rest in peace, she just passed away recently, and I know that Robbie Montgomery's devastated, so hug your neck, Rob. And it was Robbie Montgomery, Vanetta Fields, and Jessie Smith, and then it was Sam Rhodes was the bass player, and the Kings of Rhythm, which is the baddest band of Wakaneva. And way before Delaney and Bonnie. Hey, And they were going together, and I guess Ike and Sam got in a fight, and Ike fired Sam, and Sam took Jessie with him, because that was his woman at that time. And they had gigs. So they were up against a brick wall, because the other Ikette, Flora May was her name, from Houston, she couldn't get there for a week. So they needed a filler. And I knew all of them. Pretty well knew. And what I didn't know, I learned in the back of the limo, the Ikettes with me, and Ike played this piano thing you blow.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Yep. And he rehearsed us in the back of the limo. The rest of the band was on the bus,
Yeah.
It was an amazing experience. It was one of the greatest learning experiences and I kept everything I learned. I still have it.
Mm-hmm. Was your first show with them in St. Louis?
No, it was in Kentucky.
Okay.
And we ran into some serious racial problems.
Yeah.
And that's when we tried to die me. Well, we did. We tried to die me.
Didn't your mother kind of say, "You ain't staying with these guys. You can do it for a little while"?
No, as a matter of fact, I drove right to Granite City. And she gave written permission, because at that time, don't forget, Chuck Berry had been in jail because he took a white girl across the state line.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he and Ike wanted to get permission, and Ike Turner was one of the finest gentlemen I ever met. Now, I'm not saying he didn't do what people said he did, but that was not my experience.
Right.
And it wasn't Robbie's or Vanetta's either.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the Ikettes when they were singers, not dancers. So it was a different ball game. Ike gave us all a book called This Business Called Show Business. And he said, and if you get messed up in this business, it's your own damn fault, because all the answers are there in this book.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah, Robbie still has hers.
So how long was you with the...
Only a week. No, they had to send me home because we got a big car full of young men tried to run us off the turnpike, and they were calling ugly names and everything, and so I just stopped the car. When you enter the turnpike, it's only one lane. It's concrete. It's an entrance only, right? So I stopped, had Jimmy stop in the middle, and the boys were behind us, and they couldn't turn around. Like I said, I'm not going to be another nigger today, boys. And he got out the car, and had his little friend with him. And those boys were scared. They tried to turn around. But it really did put up the fight with Ike. Knew we couldn't pull this off.
Right.
So that time, we stopped at a drugstore. And this is Robbie's and Vanetta's idea. We stopped at the drugstore, and we got something that during those days it was called Man Tan. And we were going to tan me a little bit and put a wig on me because his hair,
blonde hair, yeah.
Well, I turned bright orange, streaked orange. It was a mess. I want you to know. But no, it killed me because that was my last show that night. And broke my heart. That night was the night that James Brown sent his spy. See, they spied on each other, James and Ike.
Right.
That because James had the Famous Flames and Ike had the Ikettes.
Yeah.
So they were always spying on each other. And then James found out that Ike had a white Ikeette. Uh-oh, here it comes.
Yeah.
So whatever,
So,
But the truth is, though, the end of the day, fast forward to Delaney and Bonnie and Friends' second band, we hired Ron Grayson and Robert Wilson, which was James Brown's white drummer and white bass player. So
what caused you to move out to Los Angeles?
I went out there to be a star.
Okay.
Dang.
Okay. Right.
What else would you go there for?
To be a waiter?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Waitress.
So you're done with Ike, and now you decide just to go straight out to L.A., huh?
No. There's a certain level when the Beatles came out, my horn sections, my horn players, and all of us girls, we were out of work, my background singers. It was a 4-piece band. Everybody's going to be the Beatles now. Yeah. Besides, that's cheaper, and they made more money. There are all kinds of reasons why they would do that. But that's where it went. So I went to Milwaukee, Wisconsin to be a jazz singer.
Okay.
So I sang with Cannonball and Nat Adderley on my first jazz gig. And guess who wrote my charts? Joe Zawino.
Oh, my.
Who later, fast forward, became Weather Report.
Yeah.
With Jacko and, Jacko and I, you know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What can I say?
Well, what can you say?
Hoorah! I can say hoorah.
I can say it was a fun ride. That was a good
man,
time.
you
It was
about
a great
bass player.
experience. Yeah. Are you? He's like what Jimi Hendrix was
Exactly.
to guitar. Jacko is to the bass. I believe that's only. I only talk my opinion.
Right.
I don't have a big brush, and if you don't agree with me, that's wonderful because then you have your opinion.
The world would be a boring place. If we
Well,
were
how
all the
boring?
same.
Yeah. Hey?
So you go out to L.A. to be a star, and you walk in a bowling alley?
Well,
is that the story?
No, I went to L.A. first. First, I went to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and a band came to town and said, if you ever get to L.A., I want to be your manager. We want you to come sing with us. And so I found my first ride to L.A. as quick as I could. That's what I did. Because I needed to make it to L.A. I knew I was watching Bandstand. I was watching those shows. What if they could only hear me? I could, that's what I was thinking. I heard the Righteous Brothers. Well, if they love them, they're going to, when they hear me. Because that's the confidence I had. And I had that confidence because I was given, this is my platform. This is where I was born. Right here. And nobody told me I couldn't. We didn't tell each other, you can't do that.
No.
That's and I wanted, like I said, I was loud. I'm a demonstrative. I didn't fit in well, and I can sing like Peter can preach.
Yeah.
So where else? What else would I want to be?
So
And you have to make it to California, and I was a little girl.
So who was the band that gave you that card and said, come meet us when you're in L.A.?
I wondered if you'd ask that. Thank you for
I'm
asking.
very
it.
curious.
Well, at that time, it used to be a band, and they called themselves the Enemies. But you would know them as Three Dog Night.
Oh, yeah.
that's a horn section.
Yeah, they've done all right for themselves.
Yeah. So is that once you get out to L.A., the story is that you seen Delaney in a bowling alley?
No, I went to San Francisco first.
Okay.
See, because I went and I sat in Hollywood with this guy called Sam the Soul, a saxophone player, horn band, and he was out of Detroit, and it sounded just like Ray Charles, that kind of singing, and he was white as white could be. I mean, I'm telling, blonde-headed, blue-eyed, and white. And
the voice.
Boy, and that big, thick Ray Charles voice,
Nice.
And we'd sound, we were good together. And so this dude called Frederick Apcar, who's from France, heard us singing, and he hired us to go to Vegas. So we went to Vegas, did a little stint there. I learned a lot. That's a whole nother story. And then we went to San Francisco to play in Redwood City because Sam and I had started booking it. And we came to Redwood City where it was Sly and the Family Stone, but he was not Sly and the Family Stone. But that was the band.
He was Sylvester Stone.
It was Sylvester Stone, but he was called Sly now, because that was his disc jockey name. But it was Cynthia, and, it was...
Same group, yeah.
The whole... As you know, Sly and the Family Stone, that's who they were then. They just didn't have that name and didn't have the hit record yet.
Right.
But they were minutes from it, and they really believed in Sam. That Sly was Sam's friend. And then when I came along, boy, man, it just was wonderful. It was kind of different. The relationship between black and white at that time was way different in San Francisco than it was here.
Yeah.
And so it was testy.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the way I put it. But he embraced us, and so then Sam and I got booked down in California for a couple of weeks. And this bowling alley was a bowling alley, but it also had like showrooms.
Okay.
It was gambling casino, had a topless room, one, and they had the music room here, and the shows were coordinated, so they weren't going on at the same time. And the dude I told would take the gig because he said there's a 5-piece band called the Shin Dogs.
Yeah.
Well, when I got there, this dude named Delaney from the Shin Dogs said he didn't want to back any chick singers. Well, I went ballistic. I said, they backed Donald Loren. Are you kidding me? They don't want to back me? Well, then they can follow me. I want the opening band. They'll be my back band. The opening band at that time was Chris Etheridge. He later became the Birds. It was kind of, I mean the Burrito Brothers.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool. Brothers. And so I took that trio, and they had to follow me for 3 weeks. I sang my behind off. And so did Sam. In the meantime, they're a monster band. Mm-hmm. You know, they were a great band. And I was hearing them. I was all meds, and then Delaney come to the door and said, "We didn't know you could sing that way. We'll back you." And I went, "No, you won't. You'll follow me." I was such a biatch. But in the meantime, he's bringing like Leon Russell,
right.
Carl. He's bringing Snuff Garrett.
Everyone he can bring,
to see me. So after like 3 weeks, and I didn't speak to him, and then it was the end. I'm done. I'm leaving. But they're the house band, so they're still there. So he wanted to know if I was interested in recording anything. I said, yeah. He gave me a card. He said, what's your number? I said, I'm staying at the Magnolia Inn. I don't know. I'm not from California. I didn't know there was a billion Magnolia Inns. I had no idea, And he called every dang one of them until he found me. And he came over, and he never left.
Yeah.
Ever. Yeah. For a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was.
Oh, we were magic. It's just ridiculous. When he brought his guitar and he sat down in my room at that apartment that I was staying at, and I think our first song was "I'm Leaving It All Up to You," and it was it was brilliant.
Yeah.
It was stronger than we were. And then we'd go around to all of his friends. I didn't know anybody in California.
Yeah.
And we'd go around to all of his friends, he was on Shindig. He was famous to me.
Right, Shindig, a TV show.
Yeah, TV. He was on television. Yeah. It was a big deal as far as I was concerned. And so we went, when he took me to meet his friends were like Jerry Allison and Sonny Curtis, Buddy Holly. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
It was a Buddy Holly band. And then to Leon Russell. I didn't know Leon Russell from Schmussel. Mm-hmm. And all I knew is that when he sat down and played that piano, I wanted to sing. Yeah. I didn't know anybody's background, and they didn't know mine. All I knew is that when I finally did get to meet Eric, he was not the guy to guitar to me.
Yeah.
And he was glad, because he hated that.
Yeah.
He's not that guy. You know what I mean? He's not that pompous.
Right.
He's not proud. That embarrassed him. Huh. And it made him feel bad. He didn't like that.
Because he knew there was guys way better than him.
Yeah.
The guys he'd been looking up to. Yeah.
He thought George was. Come on. He thought Jeff Beck was. Him and Jeff fired it up many times. Yeah. And he knew damn good and well Albert King was.
Right. Yeah.
And he knew B.B. King was.
Yeah. Sure.
When B.B. King came to sit in with Delaney and Eric was playing, I thought Eric was going to fall to his knees. I swear to God. He's a humble guy. He almost started crying. And B.B. said, plug it in. All right? You plug into his amp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And Eric's so humble. You know what I mean?
I bet he wanted to chew your ear, though, because you knew a lot of those blues guys that he admired. So
Absolutely.
He was probably hearing stories he'd never heard before about.
Well, all of the Average White Band was that way, too. When Delaney I brought the Average White Band here. My friend Bruce McCaskill, who was Eric's road manager at the time, played me a cassette tape over the phone from England. And I sent him airfare immediately, because that was a bad band right there, the Average White Band.
Yeah.
Robbie McIntosh on drums, the original Average White Band. Oh, hey, I got to tell you something. That was a monster band.
Now, did you suggest that name to them?
No, that was their name already.
Yeah.
They were thinking about changing, and I said, don't you dare.
Yeah, it's a good
Don't
name.
you dare.
So you meet Eric not too long after you and Delaney get together. Then Eric Clapton, and he wants you on his label, right?
Yeah, it was all because Graham Parsons did that,
Okay.
Because we were playing at Snoopy's. Word of mouth gets around. We had a humping band, and I ain't even lying. And the band used to be Gary Lewis and the Playboys, and they used to be, And who would think Gary Lewis and the Playboys are going to be a humping band, you
Right.
know? Because they had to mind Jerry Lewis, which was hard. Anyway, because Carl Riddle, it was Carl Riddle, Jimmy Carstein. That was Gary Lewis and the Playboys.
Right.
And when I got there, they were not a band. It was pretty much Leon's thing, because Leon was producing Leon and Snuff Garrett. And I think Delaney was singing with Jackie DeShannon.
Okay.
They were going to be the duet. Then I showed up, and
Everything kind of changed.
everything turned into a horn band. Background singers.
Right.
No more four-piece bands. No, go on to England where you belong.
Yeah. And that's what you were used to, right?
I'm used to a horn band. Yeah, big old horn
Let
band.
the brass
Yeah,
ring,
that's
baby.
right.
Love it.
That's right.
There's something about the ring of brass that just makes me smile.
Well, they all did steps, and that
Yeah.
stage was on fire back in the day. I mean, man, they did steps. And I'll tell you what, how to think of it. Have you ever watched Purple Rain?
Uh-huh.
Maurice's band.
Okay.
yeah.
That's the Kings of Rhythm.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, that was a bad band.
So that's when you ended up getting the deal with Stax Records, is that correct?
Yeah, I think Stax was the first one. And they signed us. They thought we were black.
Yeah, because
They had no idea we were white.
The guy who owns Stax thought
Was
the
white.
same thing about the Swampers. Whenever he had the Swampers come up from Muscle Shoals or whatever, he's like, I thought they was going to be black boys.
Well, everybody thought you were too, Jim.
Yeah, I was going to say, but everyone thought the same thing about you.
it says on Wiki.
If you talk to Steve Cropper, he said Delaney and Bonnie outed us
Oh, wow.
because they were supposed to be a black label.
Right.
That-
I
if you
think,
look at Booker T and the MG's first Green Onions album,
I love it.
you just see no pictures of a band.
No.
You only saw Green Onions.
Yeah, you don't see
because
no
they
pictures.
didn't want them to know that Duck and Steve Cropper were white.
Donald Duck Duff. Who would
Duck Dunn.
Dunn? I don't care what color he is. That dude can play a bass guitar while he's smoking a pipe and look cool doing it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So it says on Wikipedia that Clapton mentioned in his autobiography that he thought that you guys were the first white group on Stax, all white.
Yeah, well, Delaney and I were all white.
Yeah.
But everybody else on Stax still were of color, except for Steve and Duck.
And they weren't the whole band. They were just session musicians or part of the Blues Brothers or whatever they were doing at that moment. I've seen Dunn play with a lot of different people through the
Well,
years.
at that time they were, though, because it was Al Jackson was still on drums. Now, after he found out we were white, Al took a pass on it. Yeah, he did. Hey, but during those days,
Yes.
that was amazing. I can't tell you how much respect I had for him for standing up and just saying, you know what, I don't want to do this way.
All right.
Yeah.
Equal but separate. What? Why? Why
What?
separate? Why?
That was in 1967,
Yeah.
68.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
67, man. That was 3 weeks. We left Stax Records because we were writing songs with William Bell in the Lorena Hotel right downstairs. That's where Stax had their writing rooms. They rented rooms from Lorena. And 3 weeks right before the Martin Luther King assassination, we left. We were done, and we went home. The garbage strike was happening and everything, but nobody saw that coming. You just didn't. And it was just horrible. Everybody had to hurry up and get things, all the tapes and everything out of Stax. They didn't know whether everything was going to go up on fire.
Yeah.
Wasn't Isaac Hayes part of that?
Oh, big time. Isaac Hayes and David Porter are two giants. What wonderful human beings, man. Psh.
Yeah. And so then you move on to Electra after that, right? The second album?
Yeah.
That was called the original, I believe. Mm-hmm. And that's where George Harrison comes into the picture because he wants you guys to go to Apple, and that caused a little stink, didn't it?
I don't know about any of that.
Okay.
Because I wasn't involved in the business. I was just having babies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't know about that part of it, but there is a album on Apple.
Right.
But
right.
you know what? I really love this interview and everything, but I don't want to tell you my whole book, honey.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
I
I
was
was
gonna say, you got a book.
Let's talk about Granite City and why I'm here right now.
Okay, yeah.
Because that's what I want to talk about. And
that's good, but I'm going to have to at least skip to that story I wanted to bring up.
Well,
so
bring it up then, because you
but
got my whole book going
right
now.
Well, I figured some of this was lies, so I wanted to straighten it out, because it is Wikipedia that I'm getting this information from, so a lot of it, you wonder if it's even true. But so you're talking about a book coming out. Tell us more about that.
It's called, the working title's called I Can Laugh About It Now. There's a book, there's a documentary being written and filmed right now, and there's also a talk of a musical for Broadway. Yeah.
Nice.
Are you kidding me? Yeah.
Incredible.
So, well, there's not a whole lot of us left.
Right.
Horse's mouth, you know what I mean?
I like it.
Sure.
I can't help myself.
I like it, man.
All right, I'm going to skip ahead for Pigpen's sake. I'd mentioned this to you that I wanted to bring this up, but did you know that Bonnie was on the Festival Express train
With
the Grateful Dead and Janis Joplin?
Not everybody was on that train. What are you kidding me?
Yeah.
What a party that
I
must
have
been.
to apologize to everybody because you don't see Delaney and Bonnie performing because at that time I would not sign the release because they wouldn't let me see what they were going to use. And that was the time that Delaney and I were having our hardest time. So I didn't want that. If I didn't see what it was, I didn't want my kids or, other people to see. We were having a very difficult time.
And you didn't want that public.
Absolutely.
I totally understand that.
Absolutely.
But who? To me, even making the Festival Express movie or whatever is just backwash. Being there, being part of it.
Yeah.
That's what it's
that
about.
was the amazing experience.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh! I wouldn't care if I was on the movie. I just want to go back and ride that train ride. That's what I want to do.
What party was that? I mean,
It was a monster party.
Yeah. You got the Grateful Dead, Janis Joplin,
The
Yeah.
band.
train.
The band. Oh my
I
gosh!
had
Yeah,
the
she knows the
band, and just it was just amazing. Ian and Sylvia, I love Sylvia Tyson so much, and Ian is him and Delaney got together, and they went on a roar. And we were at Calgary, the Stampede. That was the last gig of it. Okay, and Delaney and Ian are out on a roar, to say the least. And these old cowboys, they just thought they'd whip them some hippie ass. And they just picked Ian and Delaney. What idiots were they? Because Ian and Delaney wiped the streets up with their butts. And they couldn't wait. Both of them can't wait to have a fight.
Oh my gosh!
And for those who don't know what we're talking about, there was a tour where all these guys went across Canada on a train.
Yeah.
And it was a nonstop party on the train. It's more about the party than it was the festival.
It was not a nonstop party. They did stop for some shows, and
But we partied all night.
I believe, if I remember right, at one point they ran out of party supplies on the train. They saw a liquor store in the distance and made the conductor stop, and some of them walked across the field to get more party supplies.
Yes, well, we did that, and then we had the swimming stop where everybody went swimming.
Yeah, nice.
Naked.
Oh, man.
In the pool, everybody started, and it's a public pool in Canada, and there were regular people there, and everybody gets off the train. We all walking there by the trains, and they just started getting naked and jumping.
Yeah.
The common people that were living there, they're just going,
What in the world?
Lord. But it was okay with them. They're hippies.
Yeah,
They're
oh my
musicians.
gosh.
Let them get naked. Who cares?
Yeah, so you would go on to do some solo albums and then eventually even movies and ended up on the Roseanne show, right?
Yeah,
and
I hope I didn't end up there.
No.
I stopped by there for a minute, but I hope it wasn't the end.
That was just a stop.
I think
It was just a
Roseanne
quick stop.
ended up on the road.
How'd you guys meet? How'd you meet Roseanne?
She was a fan of mine.
I kind of figured.
Yeah, and I'm going to break my own anonymity. I don't even think there is such thing as anonymity anymore anyway. But there's a group called Cocaine Anonymous, and there was a lot of stars that belonged to that. And we did a Christmas play one year at the Wiltern Theater with Kate Segal, a lot of big stars, and And Roseanne and Tom were there. And I played Katie's sponsor. And we sang that, remember that Bonnie Raitt song, you Lay Your Head on My Shoulder? Is it? Oh, Cry on My Shoulder. And I sang that for her. Oh, God. And this guy, I don't know who he was, but he's magnificent. He's a dancer, and he danced a ballet, to it on the stage. Oh, and people came from all over the world to see that. It was a beautiful show, and Roseanne and Tom were on it. And so she came up to me, and she said, I know every word to every song, and I pretend to be you, and I sing with you. And I did that with Aretha.
Right.
Yeah, me and Aretha at the Fillmore East. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
We were just magnificent.
We were so good together.
We were so good.
I looked better than her, but no.
Oh my God, no, I didn't. I was pregnant. But anyway, she did what, and she said to me what I had done to her, with Aretha.
Yeah.
And I just loved it. She said, will you be on my show? And I said, of course.
Yeah.
She had the #1 show for 10 years. For crying out loud.
Yeah.
And she paid me way too much money.
Yeah. And you were
for real, and I took it.
semi-regular on there, too. You appeared quite a few
I was
times.
a reoccurring character that was making more money than the actual kids there, the kids that were there.
You performed on there, too, sang,
I
right?
did, yeah.
Yeah.
And I got to meet Shelley Winters.
Okay.
I thought I'd swallow my tongue when I went on set that day. The room next to me said, Shelley Winters? Is there another Shelley Winters? Or, is this Shelley Winters? As in Marlon Brando and shit.
Yeah.
She called me. She said, when I started singing, I blew her mind. She loved it. She called me, you are another Anna Magnani. And I didn't know who Anna Magnani was. So I felt all complimented, though. I was proud to be another Anna Magnani, although I didn't know who she was. So I went and looked her up. And she's an actress that is like raw. You know what I mean? She's not got, her eyebrows are just regular eyebrows, no makeup, none, but she's raw. And I thought she's beautiful, but in a very exotic kind of way. She's not a fluffy girl, it's not a lot of makeup and stuff. And
not all polished up, just looks good
she's
natural.
a monster actress, and so I felt very complimented. But I was kind of a little questioning. I was going, is she calling me ugly? Some people might think Anna Magnani's not what I just described. But I didn't know it, but no. She recognized me. She recognized the level that I worked at.
That's awesome.
'Cause she works at that level as well.
Yeah.
It's a dangerous level, but we knew it was a dangerous job when we took it.
So you had remarried at that point to Danny, right? So if people look for you in the credit, it's going to say something different?
No, it's not going to say anything at all, and thank you.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So we'll move on past that one.
Thank you.
Let's see. What was I going to ask you? Okay, here's the other one that I wanted to see if Wikipedia was right about, because this is going to crack him up too.
So I'm already cracking up over here. Bonnie got me good on that.
Is it true? Is it true that you punched Elvis Costello?
It is not true.
Okay.
Why would you punch Elvis Costello? He seems all right.
Well,
I
she
did
didn't,
slap the piss right out of him.
Yeah, because he
was out of order.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I said, you're really out of order right now.
Mm-hmm. He was
and
talking.
I need you to stop that. And once he found what my button was, he wouldn't get off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to just have to say this right quick, though. Elvis Costello, it was a hard time for him. That was a real bad move on his part. And he got a lot of ugly press and a lot of ugly input. And he was man enough to call me, and I did no interviews on this. I don't tell this story often because Elvis Costello is a great artist,
awesome,
a phenomenal entertainer, and a wonderful human being who really screwed up. He was drunk, and that was my first year of sobriety. And we had just got back from Cuba. We did something with music in Havana, Cuba that politicians were unable to do for 20 years since the embargo. And so we were quite patriotic. So, you know, the situation was, and every newspaper in the world was there because, you know, Chet Flippo with Rolling Stone, Martha Hume, his wife, who was melody maker, and everybody was there.
Right.
You know, and he decided he really wanted to, you know, he was a little out of order. And I told him he was, and he wouldn't let up. And so I slapped his face. Mm-hmm. And you know what he did? He shut up. He took it like a man. He did not turn around and hit me back. He did call me an ugly name, but my bodyguard took care of that. And that's all there was to that. Then Elvis Costello, 3 years ago, was playing in Nashville, Tennessee. And I got a phone call. And as a gentleman, he said that the least he deserved was a slap in the face. Oh, and that he was really sorry. That's a horrible thing.
Nice.
Yeah, and he invited me to his show. And I went. And I took my album, The Roots, Blues, and Jazz, and an olive branch.
Oh, wow.
And he loved the olive. Nice. It was a nice touch, wasn't it? Yeah. So, olive branch. And he's very ill right now, and he has a wonderful wife and beautiful children. And as I said to everyone that's ever asked me to talk about this, I said, I'll talk about it, but I want to say one thing first. And that is, you know, I like to think Elvis is a phenomenal artist, a poet, a wonderful, and I believe that I'm pretty good on myself. And I'd really hate to see us artists be dirtied by a drunken brawl in a bar. You really want to go there. And you know what? I've never met anybody that did any further. They never asked me anymore.
Nice.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's cool, man. Yeah. I just wanted to kind of clear the record on that, you know, and see
it was a dumb thing.
Yeah.
And
but I think he was talking trash on James Brown, right? Which we had talked about the Pigpen a little bit.
Yeah, but you can't talk about Ray Charles that way.
That was Ray. Yeah.
No, he was insulting Ray, and that was it for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you know what, in Superman's cape.
Yeah.
No.
So, yeah, I don't know if people realize it, but she was also in the Doors movie, right, as a bartender, right? And in a movie called The Guardian with
Kevin Costner and Ashton Kutcher, about rescue jumpers. It's on the HBO, whatever, the television all the time.
And I'd love to mention...
I sang my butt off in that one with the Chicago Cats. What a great band they are. And Richard Ant Davis is the guitar player and leader of the Chicago Cats, who I want to come down here to do, because like Illinois got to take our music back. Thank you. The St. Louis Blues is a hockey team.
Okay.
And we love them. We love them. We're great fans. But the music belongs on this side of the river, friends.
Right.
That's the true history.
Now I want to mention your daughter before we get done, because she's doing outstanding too, right?
Yes.
Becca, right?
Yes.
Right.
The fruit of my loins.
Didn't she sing with Fleetwood Mac for a short time?
She sure did. And you know what? I can't tell you how proud of her for that I was, because what footsteps to stand in, because she was doing a sit-in for Stevie Nicks. Who can do that?
Right.
Are you kidding me?
Michelle can do it.
My Becca did it under the gun.
Yeah.
Okay, so she was on the Fleetwood Mac tour. Trust me, she was under the gun, and they did not want to like her to begin with.
Of course.
Because they're true Stevie. But she respected Stevie Nicks. She didn't copy her, but she didn't, when she was doing the songs of Stevie's, she didn't try to rearrange them. She didn't try to make them hers. She gave Stevie Nicks the respect vocally, and then when she had her turn to sing, she did Becca.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
I'm really proud of her for that.
Yeah.
Man, that wasn't an easy gig.
That's a tough one. Definitely. That's why I wanted to bring it up. But she's doing great.
Thank you for that. She's doing great. Yeah,
doing some stuff she has done stuff with Faith Hill and Vince Gill and people like that. Yeah, and,
a lot. Oh, so many artists.
You were telling me earlier you want her to get out.
Gretchen Wilson. She did all that stuff. They call her stunt singer. She did all the stunt singing, and then they just she'd cut it first, and then they do what she did.
So
if they could.
You're encouraging her to be herself, though, now.
Yeah, boy, she was. She's a monster.
Yeah.
I got to tell you that. I don't care. She may be my daughter, but she's another girl singer.
Yeah.
Nice.
And she works deep and she works strong.
Mm-hmm. That's Becca Bramlett for folks who want to look her up.
Becca,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Rebecca Ruth Bramlett.
Oh,
And
man.
My Harvest.
Well, we're looking forward to your book coming out. We want to have you back when that happens. And
I want to come back a lot. I want to, like I'm saying, I want to really get involved. I love what Mechelle and Scott are doing. Our parents were best friends, Scott's and Mom and my mom.
Nice.
And so I believe, the universe, God, is however you want to understand that, has put us together with Brenda Whitaker, and I think you guys met her a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Well, when I got to town, I came only for Sense Memories because my family's passed away. They're not here. I've got a few nieces and nephews, maybe, but not really family here anymore. But the history's here. Like all of my people on my mama's side and all of my people on my daddy's side is right there in St. John's, old St. John's, So I wanted to come and get that sense memory, and then I just fell back in love. And I wanted to, I sit around many campfires. Tulsa, all the Oklahoma boys, man, I'm on that record. All the Muscle Shoals, I'm on there. All Macon, I'm there.
Nice.
And I believe that just like Memphis Sound, I'm there.
Yeah.
St. Louis has always had a sound.
Yeah.
And that's called St. Louis, but all the music lives over here. We got to cross the bridge to play the gigs over there back in the day.
St. Louis is where the rock and roll was invented. Why aren't we the hub of all of this? Why
We're
isn't it
not
the rock
St.
and roll
Louis.
capital?
We're Illinois.
Yeah.
And like I said, St. Louis Blues is a hockey team. And I want to take it back.
I love
I
it.
want to get our sound. It started in Washington Park, Venice, the stockyards. And that's the blues
Right.
sound and the horn band. And then we would have country, which was out at Stallings Park. Me and John Hartford grew up together, out singing with
love you
Curly
some
Nelson and
Hartford.
his Kissing Cousins.
Yeah.
And then we went over to across the viaduct, over to, I'm going to say Slicks because we don't like to say that N-word like that. But it used to be called the N-word Slicks, right down on Pole Road, to listen to real rhythm and blues and real gospel. And we were embraced. We were safe as we could be. They just couldn't come to our part.
Right.
They weren't safe if they came to us, so we went to them. And believe me, we covered me up with a blanket, and did the whole 9 yards. But once we got in the club,
You're good to go.
we were safe. So you know what? I heard a movie the other night that said something about innocence protected by corruption.
Right?
That's pretty much what it was.
Yeah.
Nobody would have hurt me.
Right.
Nobody's ever hurt me. And I was a 15-year-old little girl. 5'8", looking like a full-grown woman, but I was still just a baby.
Yeah.
Right out of
definitely.
church,
Nice.
So,
Yeah.
and I guess people could tell that because I have never been really hurt
Isn't
ever.
that something? Because
You
we
know.
hear a lot of bad stories, and I mean, you're a living example. They're not all bad stories.
They're not all bad stories, and anything bad that ever happened to me couldn't have happened without me. They were mistakes I made. Yeah.
Self-inflicted
beautiful.
I got,
wounds. We've all got 'em.
nobody, I don't believe anybody ripped me off. I believe that I got out business because I said I knew something I didn't know. I was
Right.
faking it to make it. And they didn't know I didn't know it, so they continued like I knew. And so they out businessed me. And that's what people have got to get real. You're going to make a ton, a big, load full of money in this business, and especially if you start writing, producing. And if you're not the star of the show, it's all the people around you that make the money. Okay, so if you're doing all of that, and if you don't know where it's coming from, you don't know how to count it, you hand it to somebody else. I went to the 8th grade, honey. I didn't know.
Yeah.
And so but I'm still standing.
Yeah.
You do.
And I'm living better than I've ever, I'm
That's
safe.
wonderful. That's
I don't,
wonderful.
I took a big hit.
Yeah.
But you know what? Can't nobody take that life from you. I did what I did, and I'm so proud of it.
Can't
And there
take
ain't
your
no
big
dollar
heart away.
bill that you can't pay for what
Yeah,
I've been
yeah,
through.
yeah.
So I leave the karma and all the revenge and all that anger and stuff up to life, and I don't have any. You couldn't have done it without me. Those are my mistakes. You know what I said? So, no, it's not a big booger, but I'm going to tell you something. You need to be educated. You need to know how to count that truckload of money you're going to make.
Otherwise, it'll do
when
no
we have
good.
you back, we're going to talk more about how we can educate folks, because we like to do that here on
That's
this show.
what I
and
wanna do.
Teach the young guys and gals, you know, the ins and outs of what's going on. But now we're out of time. We could talk to you forever. I got
Well, we
1,000
got
questions.
many times.
So,
Well, yeah, we will definitely have her back very soon.
yeah.
Please,
soon, yeah.
please do, and thank you.
Thank you very
And
much.
I know that you guys are going to help support us
Oh,
with
yeah.
this art community.
Yeah.
Because and anything we can do to help support you guys up here,
Absolutely.
let me know.
Just having you here is enough.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, there's a lot
I
of people
have to tell you
that
something. I'm so happy to be here because most of us aren't right
there's
now.
proof right here, folks, that you can come out of this town and go all over the world with music.
Your dreams can come true because if they couldn't, you wouldn't even come into your mind.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
there
yeah.
you go. Well, that is Bonnie Bramlett we've been talking to. Thanks so much to Bonnie. Thanks to our sponsors, Halpin Music Company, Matt Van Voorhis of Macias Insurance, and Alex Honky's sponsor, Michael Crider of
Farmers.
Farmers Insurance. Thanks to all our sponsors for allowing this to happen. Thanks so much to Bonnie Bramlett.
Oh, thanks, you guys.
And everybody between now and next week, do your homework. Get out and support some local music and art.
Yes.